Toad on the Hill did a video recently about part of his collection of pocket knives, and what he did say was that you need a blade shaped like this, and then sort of put it down, didn't say any more. So I was a bit intrigued, because this is one of the very few types of blade I haven't actually got. So I went online, had a look, and I think this is in a clearance from Heine Haynes, and I can't honestly remember how much I paid for it. They're brand new, they're between 40 and 50 quid. Looking online though, various different YouTube reviews, dear me, did that open a can of worms. This is fortunately the Mark II version. The Mark I was repeatedly described as the worst knife ever made, which surprised me because I always thought Gerber knew his onions, but apparently not. The difference with between this and the Mark I is that you can actually open it like that, from what I understand. The cutout is slightly different shape, and the logo is on this side of the blade. But apparently it is there's this pinch plate, Gerber call it, this plate here. So if you're going to buy one of these, make sure you get a Mark II, not a Mark I. The worst knife ever made. That's quite an accolade, isn't it, really? So let's have a look round. Frame lock. I think this is a G10 scale, and it seems to be this modern fashion of only having a scale on one side. I came across this with a Condor knife I bought that I will do a look at later as well, and I thought, the scale's fallen off, and it was only because I'd only seen pictures of it on one side. But no, I think it looks pretty purposeful like this. It's a decent looking blade, isn't it? It's also a nice hand filling blade. You could get a nice bit of grip on there. But yeah, this single-sided scale, I quite like it. A bit more detail, great big chunky pocket clip, which works really nicely if you use it left-handed. So that finger index is really nicely in there. Right-handed, you just don't notice it. It's so smooth. So I've done the usual, well, not done my usual thing, rather, of just taking pocket clips off because I don't like them. You can choke it up, get a bit more grip on there. As for the specs, in total, it is, what about, let's see a bit more clearly, about 8.5 inches long. The blade is about 3.6 inches. And as I said, it's a nice chunky knife. You're going to be able to cleave things with this. Hollow ground. Stone washed blade, which just looks really smart. Same with this. This apparently is aluminium. The blade is 7CR17 MOV stainless steel, although some dealers will say it's D2, and some dealers say this is stainless as well. I don't know, trying to test it, I don't actually know how to, but that's, just be aware there are different specs apparently. And yeah, overall it's a decent knife. The blade shape, I think if you had just a straight cleaver it would lose a lot of its functionality, but because it's got this very slight point on it, this little tip here, means it's also good for stabbing. You can open boxes with it. It's pretty good for general purpose knifey things. I did have a pencil I was going to sharpen. You're going to have to take my word for that. I don't know where it is. But yeah, anyway, it's sharp enough. Is it? Let's see. Won't quite do that toilet roll thing, but there you go. And of course, it makes a pretty good chopper. You can get some quite nice fine slices from that. So all in all, yeah, I think a generally good all-purpose knife that I genuinely like. It can also, actually the other thing I did find as well is if you're careful you can use that blade, that part of the blade, as a little bit of a scraper, and that actually will take a reasonable amount of stuff off things as well. So all in all, decent knife. I like it. I like this knife. I've been using it quite a lot, obviously around at home, but I've been using it quite a lot. Quite often my missus said, "Can I borrow your knife?" I said, "Yeah, try this one," and she's actually worked out how a frame lock works. But all in all, highly recommended knife. You can find one of these. It surprised me just how practical the blade shape that actually is, and most of that I think comes down to this little tip here. I've seen, so I think Gerber do one, I can't remember the name of it, which is pretty much like a straight razor thing. I wouldn't go for that. I would definitely go for one of these. It's very slight belly on it as well, so it generally makes it quite a good. Let's see if I can find this pencil. What the hell have I done with it? No, can't remember what I've done with it. But it does make it a good general slicer as well. It is reasonably sharp out the box. All in all, quite a decent knife. And if you're wondering, yes, this is a genuine flat iron from about the 1890s. What? I can't see it myself. No idea. So this is a proper flat iron, the kind of thing you would sit in front of a fire to heat up that plate and then iron your clothes with. They're also known as sad irons. Some people think it's because of the drudgery of having to use one of these, or the risk of burning your hands on there, or just putting that too hot and melting your clothes. It's not. It's because sad in sort of late 1800s actually meant heavy, and this is about 1.8 kilograms, nearly 4 pounds. So yeah, that's why. I still can't really see the connection between the two, but there we go. Wouldn't recommend one of them. Highly recommend one of these. This is a great knife.